Today's bombshell hearing offered real insight into the far-right extremist groups involved in the Capitol attack, featuring a former member of one of these groups, the Oath Keepers. Back in 2014, Jason von Tatenhove joined members of the anti-government militia organization to document their support of cattle rancher Cliven Bundy, who initiated an armed standoff with federal and state law enforcement over defaulted grazing fees. He would go on to work for the Oath Keepers as a national media director. Van Tatenhove said that the best illustration for what the Oath Keepers are happened on January 6th. And though he did get out, his fears remain.
I do fear for this next election cycle because who knows what that might bring. If a president that's willing to try to instill and encourage to whip up a civil war amongst his followers using lies and deceit and snake oil, and regardless of the human impact, what else is he going to do if he gets elected again? All bets are off.
Joining me now is Jason von Tatenhove, author of the forthcoming book, The Propagandist, Oath Keepers and the Perils of Extremism, which is out in February. Jason, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time. You were very eloquent today. And, you know, I can recall just reading the Denver Post article about you and saying, I grew up in Colorado. So I'm like, oh, I know where those places are. I know where this guy is from. And these are not communities that are extreme. They're conservative, you know, but they're not extreme. So how does a tattoo artist, an artist, a punk rock guy wind up with the Oath Keepers?
Well, you know, when Bundy Ranch first kicked off, I knew that there was going to be a story there. And one of my biggest influences in life as a writer has been Hunter S. Thompson, and he had his breakout novel with the Hells Angels. And I thought this might be an opportunity for me to do that. So I went and I covered the Bundy Ranch. I got embedded with Stewart Rhodes in his vehicle as he went down for the second part of that. I was invited back to and given unprecedented access to the Sugar Pine Mine standoff and then the White Hope Mine standoff. And at that point, my name got used on a press release, so that was the end of my day job. And Stewart offered me a job as the national media director and an associate editor for the website. So that's really what kind of kicked it off. And I will say and as you know, admit that I did get swept up in it for a bit. And, you know, part of why I'm speaking out is because I want to communicate to other people that may have been swept up in similar rhetoric that there is an exit ramp. There's a way out.
And, you know, for a while, I mean, you got so close to Stewart Rhodes, he lived in your basement, right? That he actually lived with you. When you got to know him that way,
yes.
Did he show inklings of the megalomania? Let me play a little bit of him. This is Stewart Rhodes on December 12th of 2020. Take a look.
He needs to know from you that you are with him, that he does not do it now while he is commander-in-chief. We're going to have to do it ourselves later in a much more desperate, much more bloody war. Let's get it on now while he is still the commander-in-chief. Hooah!
Was it always that megalomaniacal, or was there something different about the organization early on?
No. We saw an evolution. You know, they did start off much more like a constitutional book club or an educational outreach. But I think what Stewart found as he participated in these standoffs was that he got a whole lot of camera time, and there was a lot of donations flowing in. And I think that really helped to cement, you know, I think during Bundy Ranch, during the week I was there, I overheard between $30,000 and $40,000 was raised in a week, of which, of course, only about $12,000 ever made it to the Bundy family. So, you know, it was a way that fed his ego and you know, got him in front of the cameras and got his message out. And so, yeah, I think that all plays a part of it. Now, also to your earlier question, Stewart, I really don't think, you know, believes a lot of the stuff that he puts on in front of the camera. I think that there's kind of two Stewart Rhodes. You know, the Stewart Rhodes that lived in my basement at one time was doing yoga classes in Whitefish, you know, while he was living with me. But there was certainly this other Stewart that we see on the cameras and we see in, you know, on InfoWars and such. And that's a really dangerous thing. because he doesn't seem to care about the repercussions of that messaging.
I'm wondering if when you were around him, because you said that you broke with him because of some really anti-Semitic, Holocaust denial and stuff like that. People like Steve Bannon, Michael Flynn, Richard Spencer, that type of person, Roger Stone, to your knowledge, I mean, you got out in 2016. Yeah. Did you ever see the Richard Spencers, that kind of person around him? Because we know that the Oath Keepers, a year after you were out already, did take part in the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville. So they were getting involved in some really violent, ugly stuff. Were any of those people around when you were around him?
Really, I had begun to disengage. There was one specific event that I referenced in my testimony today that led to my resignation. And it was, Richard Spencer. When he got punched in the face on camera, the Oath Keepers were providing security. But I have never been a racist. I've never been anti-Semitic. My cousin is Jewish. I have family members that are Jewish. I'm openly queer. So, there's a lot of things that just don't jive when you're off the camera. The cameras are turned off when it comes to Stewart Rhodes. Yeah. There are other employees that were, gay couples. Yeah. When we went out to Kentucky to cover the county clerk who wouldn't officiate the gay marriages. The story I had wrote around that piece was completely dismissed by Stewart, heavily edited, because what it comes down to is the Oath Keepers really is just Stewart Rhodes. All of the messaging, all of the decisions, all of it, it's Stewart Rhodes.
Well, let me ask you this, because a lot of the people who have testified before the committee have talked about the threats they've received, the threats to their families. You were involved with some pretty bad guys, and although you've been out for a while, you've now testified publicly, you've told your story, you're writing a book about them. Have there been repercussions for you?
No, but, I just dealing with the realms that I dealt with, I gained a thick skin pretty quickly. And, I've got safety precautions and a safety plan put in place for my children and, been very, vocal in communicating, like, how to be safe with this, as safe as we can be. We have really good communication with local law enforcement, local government in the small mountain town that I live in. So, we've tried our best to do it, but, I kind of just of the thought process that if you're not getting regular death threats, you're not doing something right. And this is an important thing that we need to talk about as a nation. We're in a very precarious time, and we need to take action now. We need to start speaking out. I knew there would be a time where my story would need to come out, and that time is now. So.
Well, Jason, you started off wanting to be a journalist, and you're doing that now with your book. I hope you will come back when your book comes out in February. Thank you, Jason Von Tatenhove. I really appreciate you. Thank you.